Hi, I'm an ink guy, but today we're looking at a paper, so I might as well just be your paper pal. Today we're looking at Ayush paper. Ayush paper is made in India, and this paper is known to be smooth, but still has some texture. This paper is good for fountain pens and does not bleed, nor will it feather. At least that's what Google says. Let's start out by talking about how the notebook is actually put together. It is top bound, and when we look at the pages inside, they're all perforated so that they can easily be torn off, which is, for me, not really a feature that I care for. I really do prefer my notebooks to be able to stay intact, and spiral bounding is not my favorite, but the double spiral bounding that they have here is much more sturdy than a single ring, which tends to get flattened out. Let's start out with one of the most important features about a paper to me, and that is whether it bleeds or ghosts. Now, as I have a few different writing samples on here, and I'm just kind of moving the paper up, you can see that bleeding and ghosting is no problem at all for this paper. So it truly is meant to handle fountain pens that we're not having any kind of trouble like that. How does it look on the writing side? One of the first things that I think is worth taking note of is that this is not a true pure white paper. It does have a little bit of a tone to it, and that could affect the way an ink looks. Now, it's not affecting it in any kind of major way. If we just look, well, we'll look as we go down. I'm putting it next to Clairefontaine. Now, I've chosen Clairefontaine because I feel that it gives the truest color of the ink because of how pure white the paper is. So we have them side by side so that we can see the Ayush and the Clairefontaine. Now, this is a medium flow fine pen, and if you look at them, not worrying about anything else other than the lines of the letters themselves, we see that there is no feathering and there is no spread. It's handling it very well. It's also showing the color of the ink without any kind of problem or distortion to the color. As we move down to a wet fine nib, we see that it is still handling it without any kind of problem. Still not having any spread, which is fantastic. No feathering, which if I was to see spread or feathering happen, this is one of the pens that I would expect it. It's worth noting that this ink is a little bit more aggressive. And this more aggressive ink, remember, did not bleed through, and it's not having any kind of problems here. As we move to the medium flow, medium nib, we go ahead and put a red in there just to be able to see if what happens. And it's a red that's really kind of got a little bit of a pink undertone. I think the pink undertone is showing a little bit more, probably because of the tone of the paper. Nothing else, because with the letters directly side by side as they cross over, you really don't see a change. So what looks like the pink undertone showing through, I think is much more something the eye does than that the paper does. It's still doing really well with a medium flow, medium nib. Moving down to a wet broad nib, we get still no feathering, no spread. This is a very good shading ink, and the shading is still coming through very well. So it's holding up to every nib that we can go ahead and put at it. If you have something that you would like to see made as a video, like a paper you would like to see reviewed, then go ahead and let me know down in the comments.